views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
You are listening to Animal Soul Wisdom Radio, tapping into wisdom of our animals, angels, and masters with Darcy Pariso. Tune in monthly to learn how you can better understand your animals and deepen your relationship. This hit show calls attention to the many roles animals play in our lives. Through stories and insights, Darcy shares how animals assist us in raising our consciousness and fulfilling our soul's purpose. These busy healers help us with transitions and challenges, love us, and want us to have more joy in our lives. Are you ready to see yourself through your animal's eyes? Learn how they're helping you and walk through life with more ease and grace? Working with ancient healing practices, Darcy can guide you and provide inspiration to move forward. To learn more, go to darcypariso.com.
Hey, hello everyone. I'm Darcy Pariso, and you're listening to Animal Soul Wisdom Radio. I'm here in the Dr. Pat Show today on KKNW in Seattle and Transformation Talk Radio. I'm here every second and fourth Thursday of the month, and you can check out my website, darcypariso.com, my Facebook page, Angels and Animals, or go to Dr. Pat's weekly calendar for those specific times. So every month, I'm here to share stories, personal experiences, and to bring on some really special, some really wonderful guests that are helping animals and all of us. My goal is to help you to understand your animal companions more deeply and just really deepen that relationship and know who you're living with. I always say you'll be amazed. The more you know them, the happier your life will be. So I'm an animal communicator, a medium, and an energy healer. And I'm also going to be teaching animal communication classes again after the holidays. So watch for those announcements because I'd love to have you join a class and get to know your animals. So enough about that. I'm very excited because we've got a very special show today. And I know that you are as excited as I am to meet Amanda Giese. So Amanda is the founder of Panda, Paws Rescue. She has a joy and a passion that's larger than life. And if you watched her show on Animal Planet, you've seen that passion and that joy. Amanda treats the seemingly hopeless animals in her Washington State home, and she mostly focuses on dogs that have been given up on. Might be due to major medical problems or some special needs. So together with their children, Jade and Beast, her family cares for these animals in need, and they help them. They give them a second chance, and they help them to find that forever home, that loving home that they so deserve. So all the people that see an animal with no hope, Amanda looks at an animal and she sees that the animal is full of love and needs help, needs her help. So Amanda's the new face on the Animal Planet series, Amanda to the Rescue. And she has launched large-scale rescue missions across the country. She saved dozens of animals from the coast of California after the deadly wildfires to the islands of Hawaii and the eruption of Kilauea. Sorry. So Amanda, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me today, Darcy.
So I have so many questions, and I know that the listeners would like to know everything that they can about you. So why don't we start at the beginning? How did you get into rescue?
Well, I actually did not think that I was going to become an animal rescuer, but as a small child, I was constantly bringing home animals that were in need, whether I found them at the grocery store or I found my very first animal rescue, a kitten, Jane Doe, when she was just a couple weeks old and she was malnourished, covered in fleas, and she was ice cold. We took her to the vet clinic and the vet said, I don't think she's going to live, but if you put the time into her, I'll put the money into her. And I was like, all right, so that's a deal. So I took her home and I hand raised her, and she ended up surviving. And then after that, I was just known as the kid who constantly brought home the animal in need. And So then I went to actual medical school while my children were tiny, but I ended up working in a veterinary clinic right after I graduated just because the hours were a lot better for me being a single mother of 2 small children. And so I worked 12-hour shifts at night and took care of the kids during the day. And it just kind of shifted my direction from working with humans to working with animals. And now here we are today because a lot of the animals that would come in as strays that were injured, I would take them under my wing and financially get the cost of care done and that sort of thing, and then find them a family. And it just kind of snowballed into what it is today.
Oh, I can just really see that because you have such a big heart, and anybody that reaches out and helps animals, there's so many that need help, and there's so many people that want to know what they can do and how they can help you. They just need like to have 100 hands to do all that you'd like to. So we so appreciate you.
Thank you very much. And there's so many ways that people can help without running their own rescue or doing what I'm doing at the scale that I'm doing it, or even what some of my rescue partners are doing it as. There's all kinds of ways that people can help. And I think the biggest platform that people can help is obviously volunteering.
Okay, I was going to ask you to share some of those. Yes, volunteering is great. And do you also suggest that people, if they're able to, that maybe they foster animals that have special needs or maybe are recovering from an illness or surgery or those types of things?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to volunteer. Transport is a great way to volunteer, getting an animal from a shelter to a rescue or from a rescue to an adopter, things like that. Transportation is always necessary. And then, of course, volunteering to foster is one of the most critical aspects, especially as far as large-scale rescues or shelters go. Fostering is a critical aspect when it comes to puppies and kittens and animals that are post-operative care. And then you can also volunteer at your local shelter, volunteer a couple hours a week helping to clean or socialize, walk a dog, volunteer to do a fundraiser for a shelter or a rescue. There's just a lot. Somebody has a talent. Everybody has a talent out there, and it's honing in on what that is and how you can best help a nonprofit with your talent and skill.
I love that. I love that because we can all start a fundraiser. And for one thing, and I would love to foster. I have an older dog that has some medical concerns. So I had to, I started my career volunteering and I had to step back for a little bit until she got better, but I do plan to foster in the future. But transporting, would that include where you live in Washington State, Washougal? Is that the border?
Yeah, we are right across the border in Washington. So how we do our transports, we do them a couple different ways. You'll see one of them this Saturday on episode 7 of Manage to the Rescue, which is where I will go to a location with a giant vehicle and we will fill as many animals as we can to bring them back to Washington. And some come to my care and some go into the care of my rescue partners. And then we also do a daisy chain transport, which is where you'll see this on quite a few episodes too, where the animal starts with, let's just say, Lydia at Valley Oak SPCA. A first volunteer picks that animal up and then they daisy chain all the way up where they cover about an hour to 2 hours of driving from Central California all the way to Washington. And so that's another way that people can help. Maybe they can't go 4 days out of their way, but maybe they can handle 2 or 3 hours of transport. So there's all kinds of ways to get involved with the transportation aspect.
Okay, that's great. That's great to know. So if somebody were interested in helping you do that, whether it's California to Washington or elsewhere, how would they find out? How would they learn more about that? Like, would they contact?
100% on Facebook. So our Facebook platform is where we share our transport needs. We have an amazing volunteer named Amy Jo Keller. She puts together the sheet and divides all the different legs into about an hour and a half each. And people can just sign up and say, hey, I live in Kansas and I can do legs 7, 8, and 9, or I live in Idaho and I can do legs 4 and 5. Like it really depends on what state the animals are coming from. But those volunteers in that area get an opportunity to sign up and choose the legs that they're able to do.
Okay, that's great information because I'd be interested in doing that.
Yeah, it's really fun. And we have animals that come from the Seattle area as well. They come down south. And I have amazing rescue partners in the Seattle area too. And sometimes they reach out and need help. And whenever we're able to help them, of course, we always want to do that.
Yeah, that's really great. So Amanda, I was always under the impression that you work primarily with dogs, but you sometimes work with other animals, correct?
Yeah, this season, in fact, last Saturday, episode 6, we had a feline frenzy episode. So for all the crazy cat ladies and gentlemen out there, they're going to love it because you get to see pterodactyl. We pronounce the P in pterodactyl for the record. So it's pterodactyl, and she's a special needs kitten, as well as Rowdy Cat, who we go to surgery with. And so we definitely do cats, dogs. We've done birds, lizards, snakes, spiders, porcupines, hedgehogs. Like, call it an animal, we have definitely tried helping them. So we've had quite a few domestic animals as well as wildlife. And with our wildlife, we always try to do rehabilitation release, of course, because the wild is the best place for wild animal. But we don't just stop at dogs. But the biggest criteria is that everything is major medical, special needs, or hospice.
Okay. But you have saved so many lives. I just love watching your program, and it really touches my heart. I'm like everyone else, crying.
We've officially saved over 5,000 animals through my home.
5,000. Wow.
Yeah.
One person and one family, 5,000 animals. Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you.
That's huge. So talking about your family, so your children, Jade and Beast, what are their parts in the rescue? Do they fill in where as needed? They help with any training, any feeding?
Yeah, well, they both step up, especially when we have multiple physical therapy cases, multiple dogs that have just come out of surgery. And when I have my hands full, obviously not only running the rescue and taking care of all these animals, but on top of that, filming a television show. So when I need extra help, they definitely step up and do that. This year, Beast took a veterinary class, and so he is very fresh on all of his veterinary terms and things like that. And I think that he finds it really interesting when I bring something home that he just got done learning about, and then he's able to implement what the physical therapies and know what he's doing, including like all the muscle groups and things like that. So both kids really jump in when it comes to physical therapies, all kinds of PTs. Beast is very good about helping with keep maintaining the yard and making sure it's safe for the animals. And, anytime I need giant kenneling carried around or pressure washed out or whatever, he's always on top of that. And Jade is really, really big about the socialization aspect of it. So she spends a tremendous amount of time with each of the rescues. As soon as my kids come home from school, and now that they're teenagers, it's not just my kids, all the kids come home from school to my house. So I have a plethora of teenagers that walk through the door, and they're always just on the floor with the animals, picking them up, like sitting there on the couch with them for 20, 30, 40 minutes. So our animals are very, very socialized thanks to the teenagers as well. But the older they get, I want them to be teens and have their own social life and go have fun and have normal teen lives too. So it's just a balance between work and play.
Well, those are some pretty lucky animals, first of all, that they're under your care, and then they get all that love and attention from your own kids, plus all their friends.
Yeah. And, Jade really stepped up in the last year too. She actually works as my assistant now too. And so she does a lot of my emails. She gets the thank you sent off to everybody who donates. And she's now helping with the Facebook and social media platforms. Like she's, it's kind of like her very first real job. And so she's my little personal assistant, and it's amazing because they've grown up in this. So when they speak with so much confidence about whatever it is, whatever topic. It could be a medical ailment, and she can just go on and on and on about it because that's all they've ever known. So that's pretty cool too.
What a bonus. I mean, what a great start in life to go forward in whatever they choose to do.
Mm-hmm.
And how much this has influenced their lives and their choices and who they are as a human being. Wow.
Absolutely. I think it's really grown my children with a tremendous amount of compassion, patience, and you have to have a great sense of humor if you run a rescue too. So they're pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're very, very proud of them. It's amazing.
I am extremely proud of them. And, no matter what they go on to do in life, I know that this upbringing around all of these animals and like this, how selfless you have to be, I know that's going to enrich their lives as adults. And Jade herself, she wants to go into the veterinary world. She wants to work in surgery. And so I envision someday when she's graduated and she's, got that veterinary license, I can see her and I working together, which would be a whole different platform and so neat to see come to fruition.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I can't imagine that they wouldn't do something to help animals, even if it wasn't their mainstay or their job, that they'd still be involved in it because once you have this love for animals, you can't walk away.
Yeah, and I mean, this season on the show, you're actually get to see them. They go to the airport and they pick up an animal and do a transport without me. And then they also fly across the country without me and pick up a special needs animal and fly that dog back to me. They went together, which was really exciting for me. We kind of did I know that most people never have thought about doing parent swap, but my best friend Sadie has a teenage daughter. She's my goddaughter. And we decided to do a parent swap, a kid swap. So Gertie stayed with me, and she got her community service hours in volunteering and helping me with physical therapies and taking care of some pretty significant cases. And Sadie flew with my children cross country, but she had very strict orders not to intervene, let the kids do this, let them figure it out, work as a team. And I just wanted that team building experience for them, but also I wanted them to see the other stuff that mom does when she's out getting animals and saving lives, for their own selves, and just to see how much work goes into it, and the things you got to really think about, and you can't cut corners on certain things. So they got to go experience that, and they did phenomenally.
Oh, I bet. I bet they've been in school, grooming, learning, training, studying this whole time.
Yeah, and I mean, mine was a piece of cake. I had one 13-year-old daughter with me, and Sadie came back and she was like, okay, I'm going back to having one kid.
Well, families have all different things.
My kids they're older. They're almost 16 and almost 18, but they're also like best friends. And man, they're hilarious, but they're teenagers and they can gang up on you. And so by the end of it, Sadie came back and I was like, are you okay?
Oh, that's funny. So another thing that I've noticed when I'm watching the show, I occasionally will see, somebody filming, and I think about, what is that like to have people filming the show in your house? And I mean, personal space probably more than you.
There is no such thing as personal space when you are on a documentary series reality show.
Okay.
We have a film crew of 5, and they pretty much live with me for the majority of most days. I usually at least have one day a week off, but for the most part, they're with me between 8 and 20 hours a day. They film everything, including me waking up in the morning, getting ready, everything. They film it all. And that's because it really is a documentary series. And so they're documenting my life and the journey of these animals. And when you turn the camera off, that's typically when great stuff happens. So they leave them on. But it's really neat because we have such a small, intimate group, and we're all really, really good friends. They become like brothers to me, and the kids consider them uncles. We just have a really great working relationship, and we even hang out when we're not working because we actually like each other that much. So I'm very, very fortunate for that it's not like an oil water situation. Instead, it's just like 6 peas in a pod situation.
Yeah, and the little glimpses that you see, I mean, you get that impression. And I think that anybody that was involved in your life or sharing space or whatever would feel very comfortable, because that's how you are. You're very gracious and very open and accepting. And I don't see you getting mad. So
I don't really get mad about very much. That's one thing that the rescue and being a single mom and raising teens has definitely done, is taught me an exceptional amount of patience and communication also. So I don't really get upset or frustrated very often. And I mean, there's really nothing to get frustrated on. That's what's really nice about this show. And the film crew always says it all the time is, how can you be upset or mad? Like, we're working with some of the greatest animals you could ever meet. We're working with great people, amazing humanitarians, amazing animal advocacy. So you can't really be upset. It's a great project to work on for everybody. But I will say, it's very interesting when you still have your microphone on and you realize that you went to the bathroom and they're still rolling, and you come out, you're like, so sorry. Because I don't turn my mic off. I just go.
Well, yeah, it's probably just as common as, wearing your clothes. I mean, it's just
so. Yeah, we have like this little inside joke. I'm actually going to get it tattooed. I'm going to get the number 488.1, which is my microphone, the actual like frequency. That's the number of my specific mic. And I wear it every single day. And so when they come in and they have all the lavs, all the microphones, I'm like, I'm 488.1. So I say it every single day. And so now they're in the habit of when I come in, they're like, you're 488.1. It's like, it's funny. We have a ton of inside jokes, a ton. And we laugh so much on set. It's so, even during like hard times, you have to find the silver lining, but we constantly are having fun laughing about it. We film a ton in every single room of the house. So it's almost like when we stopped filming and the crew came back to the house, Maui, he's our director of photography and cameraman, he walked in the house after like 2 weeks of being gone, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm home again." He goes, he lives in my house more than he's at his own house. So when they come over, they're like, "Oh, I feel like I'm home again."
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a very nice extended family, isn't it?
It is. And I love that you guys get to see us break the fourth wall and see the reality of there's camera people everywhere.
Yeah, because you wonder, is that comfortable? I mean, I would assume that you're all working together and that they love animals as much as you do, and that it's very much part of their lives, and so it's very meaningful.
Absolutely. In fact, as you see last season as well as this season, especially on the next Saturday's episode and the one after that, you guys are going to see them really step up to the plate, where obviously I ask them constantly when we're flying if they'll check their cameras and their bags and take an animal instead, which, filming a television show, that makes the whole journey kind of tricky. So they've started filming a lot with their cell phones because they're checking their actual real cameras so that I can save more lives. And so, or essentially they're saving a life. And so you'll see more cell phone footage just because it's more important for us to film and document it on the cell phone and save a life than it is to have that really beautiful clear lens photography, So we
Yeah.
just have had to make some adjustments for the better so that we can do more.
And I've seen them do that on several of your shows, and I think, what an amazing crew you have, and, like attracts like, so there you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I have so many things to ask you. What would you like to go to next? Do you want to talk about some favorite times, or when you went to meet Tia Torres?
Yeah, so we have the first ever crossover episode between Pit Bulls and Parolees and Amanda to the Rescue. Tia has never paired up or partnered up with anyone before, and I believe she's on her 14th season at this point. So that says quite a bit. It's quite an honor that she and I have built this friendship and this trust within each other, that she was willing to partner up with us. And how it all came about is she had a dog in her care named Bean, and he's a 3-legged German Shepherd. He had been shot in his back leg and went to the Assumption Parish shelter, which is concrete and it's cold and scary. And they went and picked him up, and they were hoping to actually fix his leg, but unfortunately it couldn't be saved. So they did an amputation, and he was there for about 7 months just with no interest. Nobody had put an application for him. There wasn't really any chatter about him. And I saw him on social media, and I just knew that we could help not only Bean, but help her with him, just so that she could see that adoption through. So I reached out to see if we could come get him, because I was already headed to the East Coast to do a Southern transport rescue. And so I reached out to see if we could also add Bean to our list. And that's exactly what we did. So it's a really cool 2-part series, which starts on her show at 9 p.m. on Pit Bulls and Parolees, and then it moves straight into Amanda to the Rescue. So it's a 2-hour special. But it's really fun. And what's really neat about it is Tia and I actually bonded and created our friendship over really late night, hours long phone calls. And I think a lot of that is because we're both women running rescues. We are both raising our children in rescue. And then on top of that, we both happen to do all of that on global television, which is a pretty narrow world. I think she's the only person I know that does that. So, as far as likeness and being able to relate to the lifestyle that is and how it changes your life, and, you have to adapt to certain things. She's the only person that really understands that world fully as a mom, a rescuer, and a television host. So we bonded over the phone. And then it's just now grown to not only do we work together on this season once with Bean, but then we actually go back again and help with another dog that she reached out to us to see if we could help with. So now we have a lasting partnership, and I'm sure that relationship will continue for many, many, many decades to come.
Yeah, that is a great partnership. I've seen some clips of the show, and I've seen Bean on Pit Bulls and Parolees. I don't know if it was just a little blur, but I've seen like bits and pieces of.
Yeah, that's the little sneak peek of the Pit Bulls and Parolees episode. And then I think today, for the first time, I saw the little sneak peek of the Amanda to the Rescue side of it. So I'm hoping everybody tunes in for that 2-hour segment. There won't even be a commercial between our episodes. It literally will go from Tia's episode straight into my episode. And it follows the journey of Bean, a.k.a. Beanie Weenie.
And again, you said that that's going to be this Saturday evening, right?
Yep, that's this Saturday.
Okay, 9 o'clock.
And I'm so excited for it. There was so much work that went into all of it, obviously with Bean and working together. And it's so interesting going on somebody else's television show and filming with them. It's like, it was neat to experience because it's just somebody else's world, but it's very parallel to my world, but very different.
Yes, it is very different, isn't it?
Hmm.
You have all the animals where they're, they're in their crates or in their beds, and yours are sleeping in your home and probably with the child.
Yeah, it's different. And that was one of the best things for Bean was he was moving from a higher volume shelter atmosphere to an in-home intimate area where he could actually learn that confidence and learn how to just be a house, a companion, a dog, essentially. But those dogs out there in Assumption Parish and at the Villalobos Rescue Center are quite spoiled. So they have a lot of room to run. They have an amazing team of volunteers and workers that are out there with them. I think throughout the 2 days that I was there, I saw all of her children all of her children were there working, showing up at different hours and working. It was incredible. And everyone is so nice there, but the dogs definitely, while it's not our atmosphere and style, the dogs are definitely living a more plush life than they typically would live in the South.
Yeah, that's so wonderful to see. And you can see everybody's heart is in. And it's also so great that people that some of the guys that might not be able to find another job. I just think that what a perfect
Mhm.
job. I mean, how healing is that to be able to get that unconditional love from an animal and to give back. And
Well, and what's so amazing about parolees are the majority of them are extremely great people that made a bad decision. And
mm,
to not be able to reintegrate back into the world without stigma and judgment, that's horrific. They did their time. They are now free to, make better choices and show that they're great people. And I do believe that by nature, most people are good and have goodness in them. But unfortunately, once you are a parolee, you have a stigma above your head. So for her to give those guys and girls that second chance, she's really saving the ultimate underdog when it comes to humans. And I think that's extremely commendable. She's a mother to many, not just to her own children.
oh, she certainly is. She certainly is.
She's, and she's really showing the world like to give second chances and to look beyond somebody's bad mistake. Everyone makes mistakes, and most of us have made similar mistakes, I'm sure, in life. But a lot of people either just didn't get caught or it didn't hurt somebody, So just to give somebody a second chance and really get to know them as they are. I get a ton of inmate mail because in the jails across the United States, one of the channels that they do have is Animal Planet. And a lot of the jails that I get inmate letters from, they have the dog program or the cat program where they get to help train them and raise them and get them ready for adoption. And to hear them thanking me and how inspiring it is that they're so excited about their programs in their jails, like that really, it makes my heart grow a million sizes. So I can only imagine how that feels for her, knowing that she's really, truly given second chances to many, many people.
And you see it and you talk about that, and I just feel in my heart too. It's such a beautiful thing to do and such a win-win for everybody. But these are really great guys that are on there. I mean, you can just see their heart and their desire to care, to help and to care. And even when they have to do chores that maybe are not the most desirable, they do it because they love the animals. And
Yeah, and they take pride in it. And I think that's something that I would say resonated the most while I was there is the amount of pride that everybody took in their jobs and working with the animals. It was like, I mean, what a great life to be able to work with animals. I can say that because that's what I do. And so for these gentlemen to be able to work with these animals, that's therapeutic for themselves as well. And it really gives them a purpose, and it gives them, at the end of the day, they can lay their head down and know that they're giving back in such an amazing way.
yes, and I also want to applaud the people that adopt the dogs, because I've just really been touched about how many people will come from all over the country and they say, I wanted to help one of these dogs.
Hmm.
To help a pit bull. I wanted to help this dog that's struggling or that's older or, whatever it might be. But they could easily have gone to their local shelter or purchased an animal somewhere, but this is what they did. So it says a lot about those people too.
It really does. We have adopters all over the country. In fact, I just got done doing an adoption in New Jersey, but we have people who adopt from all over the place. And when you just, I don't know if you've ever done this, but I have, when you see an animal and you just know that is your animal, there's something that's drawing you towards each other. Like there's a connection. You just know it's supposed to be yours. And then when they apply, and actually all of the polka dots, all the puzzle pieces come together and it fits so perfectly. It's like, then I know that they're meant to be I don't want to say the word fate, but I do feel like that sometimes. I see that quite a bit in our adoptions, and I'm really picky about our adoptions in the sense that I don't want it just to be a great match for the person wanting that animal, but I need it to be a great match for the animal picking that person as well. The lifestyle has to fit, all the needs and all the boxes need to be checked off to make sure it's a win-win for both sides. And just to see all these people that have huge hearts coming out from everywhere, that also renews my faith in humanity, because it says, even with these major medical special needs and hospice cases that we have, there's still so many good people out there that are willing to open their hearts and their homes and give them great quality of lives for however long they have them.
Yeah. And, another thing that I believe from my work, Amanda, is that I believe that, energy attracts energy, and that we've had many lives together, and that the animals that have been in our lives previously, they find us again, and we recognize something. It might be their energy signature, it might be their eyes, but there's just something, and it's usually something random.
Yeah.
It's not like you set out, like, I'm going to find this dog, and he's going to find me, and whatever. It's just like suddenly they show up in your backyard, or somebody moves, or he's lost and you didn't find the owner and you tried, and pretty soon you're in love with them and forget it.
Yeah. And not even that, but I also think sometimes you come in contact with somebody else's animal that you're not going to be adopting or taking into your own home, but you come across someone else's animal, and there's just that really stark obviousness that it's almost like you've known that animal before.
Yeah, it's a soul connection.
Yeah. Well, and I think so. For me, like in spirituality, I think that when we die, our bodies are shells. I think that when we die, we're obviously kinetic energy. We have energy in us. I think that when you pass, that energy has to go somewhere. And I don't think that it's like, oh, it's gone, zap. I think that it actually goes and transforms somewhere. And who absorbs that, whether it be someone that's negative that needs a positive energy, or somebody that's, you know what I'm saying? I think that energy just goes somewhere into the atmosphere. I don't think it just disappears. And sometimes I think that that's what comes back around to us too.
Yes, it's very true. And I've seen, this might sound a little crazy, but I've not only seen this in readings that I've done for others, but I've seen it in my own animals. When I have my two dogs, I had two dogs and a cat. I have just one Havanese right now, but they help each other out. So when my Havanese is not doing well, and she has had her up and downs the last couple of months where it was looking like, this might be time to say goodbye. And suddenly she perks up and she's a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference, though, is that her energy is different. And this is not, okay, so who's here? And it will be, for a while, it was my King Charles Spaniel came and offered some of his energy. He crossed over a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and he, sends her some of his energy. And so she is embodying both. And suddenly she's able to go on walks again, and she's got energy and she's happy. And I've given her permission. I know you can go whenever you want to. I support you. I don't want to hold you back in any way. Of course I'll miss you, but I know you'll visit. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, I want to be with you a little longer. So when that dog was with her for about a month and a half, she dropped down a little bit. And then suddenly she had another different energy feel. And I thought, okay, I was really, very close with my dogs, and I recognize their energy and who they are when they talk right away. My cat was a little more offish, and we just kind of, let her do her own thing pretty much. And at the end, she really stepped up, because I said, I really wish you would come and sit in my lap and let me give you Reiki and let me just, hold you a little bit. And she did, and she did all those things for me. But anyway, this cat came and gave my dog some energy so that she could stay too. So they kind of share her body sometimes. And that's why she's still here. And she's just not ready to go, but her body is kind of failing her.
And those senior years are the take their senior to a shelter. And I don't want to judge because everyone has different circumstances and I don't know everyone's circumstance, but those who just don't want to have their animal through their senior years, or they don't want to, be the one that has to humanely euthanize and things like that. Those always just break my heart because those senior years are some of the best years. Those are the years where your animal has loved you unconditionally and they've been your best friend for all of these years. And for them to be on their very last few days or months, that's the time to really absorb and soak up everything and cherish those memories and be there for them. So I love senior animals. And I also love when people adopt seniors because you know exactly what you're getting. When you meet an animal and they're a senior, they are who they are. Sure, they can learn new tricks, that's obvious, but you really get their temperament, their personality, and exactly who that animal is. So I'm all about seniors.
I do too. In fact, that's my dream. Moving forward, I would love to have a little more land and just adopt senior dogs. That's what I intend to do. I don't know how that's going to happen yet, but usually I put the thoughts out there and things are pretty good at manifesting. So we're going to see about this one. Yeah. So, we could talk forever about all these things, couldn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
especially just the theory of it all.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Especially like the theory of it all, just all the different theories and just, we could go on and on and on forever.
Yeah, definitely. So there are still so many things that I'd like to ask you. I mentioned before that your show, Amanda to the Rescue, is it at 10 p.m.?
It is at 10 p.m. on Animal Planet. It's
Okay.
also on Amazon and iTunes. You can find it in other places if you don't have the Animal Planet channel and Animal Planet Go, of course.
Okay, because I think I said 9 earlier. I was thinking it was 9. Then I realized I think it's older. It's later than that. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's because Tia Torres has Pit Bulls and Parolees on at 9, and then we're on at 10. So we're always directly after them.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Thanks for clarifying that. So what are some of your favorite moments, favorite stories?
Favorite moments with the show or with Rescue?
It could be either or. It could be the show, Amanda to the Rescue, or otherwise.
I think with the show, I would definitely say seeing it come together because I live that life 24/7. So then when I see, a month of my life truncated down into a 1-hour episode, I'm like, first of all, it does it amazing justice. But second of all, how did they do that?
Yeah.
Like, the magic of that all is pretty amazing. But Rescue, my favorite is a successful adoption, a happily ever after. That is always my favorite. That feeling of, because I love these animals when they come into my care and I take care of them through all their medical needs and whatnot. And when I see that animal get adopted, but I see the elation, the happiness on that family's face, that definitely is the icing on top for me. That's the whole reason to continue once that animal leaves, to bring another one in that spot. So I would say that's definitely the highlight, is the happily ever after.
Mm-hmm. And you seem to have an amazing supply of adopters too, people that you've vetted and that we're going to do a really great job, take care of the animals. And
yeah, we're really fortunate to have such an amazing group of adopters. And a lot of that comes from my transparency and working really, really hard over the last decade plus to gain the trust of the general public and be transparent and show them authenticity and how genuine I really am, but also our platform at Panda Paws Rescue. And that took a lot of time to build the trust of the public and have them be as passionate about it as I am. But because of all that hard work and effort and transparency, now we have an amazing lineup of adopters. In fact, we may have one animal go up for adoption and I have to shut off applications within like 12 hours because we'll have 100 adoption applications. We only have one of that dog. So we're just really, really fortunate. And we have a mate. Every single person who applies, we even have like 20 great adoption applications on one dog. And I just wish that I had 20 of that exact same dog because all of them would be great families. So that gets really difficult to try to narrow it down. And that's where it comes down to little fine-tuned things of, if I was this animal, what exactly would I want my home to look like? And it doesn't mean that the other homes aren't absolutely exceptional and amazing. But since I only have one, that means 19 other families have to just hold on a little bit longer and wait for their next dog. But I do have to say that I think that also comes down to, again, I don't want to use the word fate, but sometimes it is like when it's meant to be yours, it's meant to be, and if you go and apply for an animal and it doesn't happen, or I don't want to say you get turned down, because that's not what I'm doing. It's more, I don't have 20 of that animal. So if you're one of those 19 that didn't get chosen, that just meant it's not the right time. Like, there is one that's going to come. And when that animal comes into your life, you're going to go, oh, this is why, because this is my best friend.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. And I've seen that when people have called and said, I adopted this dog and I want to know more about him. And they might often tell a story similar to what you're saying. You know, we looked at this dog, but it didn't work out. Now we have her. Oh, it's just perfect.
Yep.
It is divine right timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So when people watch your show, what do you hope that they will take away from it, or experiences? And what are some of the comments, I guess, you've gotten back from people that, you know, that people have shared with you about just the program itself and how it might have changed them, or maybe seen things differently? Or
I think our show spreads a lot of inspiration, but hope. I think that's one of the biggest words I could use. It's only a four-letter word, but hope. I think when people watch each episode, they have, like, a lot of people say their faith in humanity is renewed, makes them feel like they're empowered to do more. They're educated throughout our show. And so I think that it's just really inspirational as far as just be a good human. And one of my coined phrases that I always say is kindness is cool. And the amount of times people now say that back to me is so incredible, but it's true. Growing up, you know, kindness wasn't like a platform that we really were teaching kids. It was more, we just expected kids to be kids type of scenario. But as we brought bullying and that sort of thing into the limelight more, and lack of equality and lack of acceptance into the limelight more, and we're actually talking about it now, it's just a bigger platform that we really do share that message that kindness is cool. It's cool to be kind. It's not cool to be a jerk, you know? So, I think that's one of the biggest things. And then I would say the amount of people that have reached out and just said, like, this show has saved their life, or this show has inspired them to do X, Y, or Z, or this show has brought them out of depression. This show has taught them that even though they're struggling with something in their own life, these animals have really taught them that they can overcome it, and that, you know, they just really need to hold on to that spirit of maybe Super Scooty and really overcome whatever it is that they're battling in their own life. So those kind of comments are pretty amazing. Plus, my dog Gru has a condition called Dandy Walker-like syndrome, which we call it Dandy Walker-like in the veterinary world because it's not been diagnosed per se. He's been diagnosed. It's not been actually like a common thing. He's the only one my neurologist has ever seen. And in the human world, it's called Dandy Walker syndrome. And it's also not very common. But because we shed light on it and use the true proper name, the Dandy Walker community has been over the moon excited that they're finally getting some visibility for their human children that have the same condition that he does. And so those are the things that, like, give me chills up my spine, because that's just really inspirational for me.
wow, it really is. It's giving me chills too. You've done so much. I mean, every animal touches so many lives, and the TV show is just spreading. And I think you're a front runner, a forerunner, right?
Yeah. And there's like
all of those things.
There's so many topics in this world that are just now getting the attention. For example, transgender, Down syndrome, they're interracial, same-sex marriage, women in the military, things like that. And season 2, we literally touch base on all of those topics because those are our adopters. And so we're really equal opportunity when it comes to adopting. And I think that, you know, if we didn't have a show, that's great. We would still be doing these things. But to be able to do that on the television show and shed, limelight on the fact that these are all amazing people. Like, don't judge them based off of those things, those superficial things. Like, these are all incredible, incredible people. And had we not shown the other side of their life, you would never even know. You would think, you would never judge them. So I think that that's really cool too, is not only is this show really good for animal advocacy and helping to change laws and do that sort of thing, but it's also really great for just humankind as well.
It really is. And it's such a powerful message. So thank you again for that. You know, you mentioned Scooty, and with Scooty and Loco Moco.
Yep, Super Scooty, Loco Moco.
I think it was a couple shows ago.
Yeah, Loco Moco is actually now, oh, man, he's big. He's a big boy. He's probably 75 pounds or so. He's a big nugget, but he is exceptionally well trained. His best friend is an orange kitty cat. And he's of course. But he's doing really well. And then Super Scooty is also doing great. She's living the dream. And in fact, I do think that her parents, since she is a super senior, I think that her parents are trying to cram an entire lifetime of love and experiences and memories in. So that little girl is spoiled and has the best life ever.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh,
It's just amazing too how animals, they just are. They are who they are. They accept, where they're at and what's going on. And so to see Scooty, who's a Pomeranian, right?
yeah.
And she had malformed feet, it wasn't a big deal. She just,
Yeah, she had her malformed
grounded.
feet. Actually, we had another one just like that in rescue a little less than a year ago, named Bunny. And Bunny's a puppy and Super Scooty's 10. And it was kind of cool to be able to show Bunny's adopters, hey, look, Super Scooty made it all the way to 10 without any issues with arthritis or anything like that. And so that was really neat for them to see, basically what Bunny's going to be like in 10 years.
Oh, that is really nice. Yeah, yeah. And her teeth, I know there were problems with that she had missing teeth and teeth had rotted.
Yeah, we don't know a lot of her back history. We only know that for the last year before coming into our care, she was in a home by herself. Her human owner had passed away, and someone was stopping by the house every day to give her food and water. But after a year, they relinquished her into Aloha Elio's care, and then they transferred her over to our care because it would be very, very hard to get her adopted on the island, but much easier for her to get adopted, in front of our platform at Panda Paws Rescue. So that's how she came into our care, but we really don't know much before that. We don't know if she came from a puppy mill. We don't know if, we don't know anything. But typically when we see that on dogs, it is because they've had poor living conditions. They haven't had fresh water. A lot of times in puppy mills, they drink out of basically the same type of container that a hamster or a bunny rabbit would, with the little metal ball in the end. And so they don't have fresh water. It's a lot of bacteria in their mouth, and it does cause their teeth to rot out. And then oftentimes it causes the lower jaw to rot out as well.
It's really sad, but I'm very happy that she has such a loving family now.
Absolutely. And you can tell that she was loved. You can just tell that for the last year of her life, she clearly, she needed help. So now she's got it. Her hair is all grown in. It's so beautiful. And she's just got that Super Scooty smile that you cannot not love.
Yeah. It's really nice too. People or animals, they can have, some pretty horrific things happen to them. But once they feel safe and they feel loved and cared for, it can change everything.
Absolutely. Yep.
They're not their story. They're living in the moment. And this is where I am now. I love that about them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Amanda, too, I wanted to mention that I was reading that you've been nominated for the Critics' Choice Real TV Award for Best Animal and Nature Show.
Yes, we did get that nomination. And so we got the Television Critics Association Awards, Best Reality Animal Television Show. And then we also won the United States of America, the Humane Society for the United States of America, the Genesis Award for 2018, and then, which was presented this year. And then we won the National Animal Control Association Bill Lehman Award for 2019. And then this last weekend, we were nominated for, and we won Best Reality Television Show and Best Female Actress of a Reality Television Show from the Women's Images Awards. So we have been getting quite a bit of recognition for the show, for my efforts, for the efforts of everyone from Discovery all the way down through Animal Planet and Indigo Films, and everyone who's put a tremendous amount of hard work into this project. But the nominations themselves, whether it's a win or just a nomination, that recognition to me is a win, because it means we're doing things that are loud and important.
Oh, absolutely. And I would say that most of the world could recognize that very easily. You're all about helping, loving, and righting a wrong sometimes, or just going, okay, this is what happened, this is the story, and where do we go from here, and how do we change that and make it better?
Absolutely.
You are making such a difference, and from your weekly TV program or just anything that you're doing, every life you touch is like just going out there.
And what's great about it is whether there was a show or no show, I've been doing this for over a decade. And, I will continue doing this. This is definitely a platform that I'm extremely passionate about. And I think that we're just beginning right here. We're just starting to make giant changes and moves. And, there's a lot in legislation that I would like to change and I would like to advocate for when it comes to animal welfare topics. And I think that this limelight is incredible because we can use that to benefit animal lives and we can use that to benefit human lives as well. But I think that this is just starting. It's crazy because I've been doing this forever and ever and ever, it feels like, but it does feel like it's just beginning.
And it's the time, it's the energy. And I think people are ready to step up and help and speak up. And, in the past, you could see maybe an animal along a cat or dog alongside the road or the neighbors left outside and not being fed, and people would say, oh, that's too bad, or they'd shake their head, but they didn't want to get involved or were afraid to or didn't know what to do. And I think that's really changing.
I think so too. And I think it's because we're empowering people to actually stand up against evil, to stand up against wrong and to be a part of the positive change. If you don't, if it hurts your heart to see it, then do something about it. And I think that we're, not just myself, but collectively people like myself are giving others that permission to get involved, the permission to feel like, and making them feel like they have a voice because they do. And especially for children and elderly people and animals, the people that need our voice and our advocacy and our protection the most, I think that's what we're extending the platform to everybody to be a better person and to help.
Yeah, and it's such a, it's perfect too. Our social media is such a great tool to spread this. And I mean, all of my friends are always sending me pictures of, animals, cats, dogs, horses, or funny things, things that are happening, in government and how we're making changes and sign petitions and just all of it. There's so many pieces to it.
Yeah, and it's not just here in the United States of America either. While we just passed making animal abuse a felony, animal neglect and cruelty a felony, over in Taiwan, they are the first country over in Asia to actually change some of their animal welfare laws as well. And I think that they're really going to be the pioneer and the leaders when it comes to animal welfare advocacy. And I think every country around this globe needs it, not just the United States of America, but everywhere really, really does need that first person to kind of put their foot down and say, all right, this is the way we're going to do it now. And so, even just being in Taiwan a couple weeks ago for the Discovery Festival, I was learning all kinds of their laws that have changed. And I think it's just really nice seeing, even in the last year or two, seeing drastic changes that I'm shocked they weren't done, like before I was born. But seeing, even though we're heading into 2020, to see it still happening right now means that we're making moves in the right direction in a positive manner so that we can, protect the animals and protect children and protect seniors. And I'm just seeing it all over.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. I knew that you had gone to Taiwan, and I wondered if it was a rescue mission or if it was something else. I think I saw some pictures on your site or somewhere, but.
Yeah, I was in Taiwan for the Discovery Festival. Last year I went to the Philippines for the Discovery Festival. Discovery owns Animal Planet, and so we're all one big happy family. And they bring over some of their talent, some of their show hosts or whatnot, to host these giant events that have like 130,000 people. And so we have this Animal Planet section, and I get to hang out with all these amazing animal lovers. And I got to get together with their city council in Taiwan, as well as meet their mayor and sign this partnership between the two of us to further education and make even grander strides in Taiwan. And like I said, I think they're really going to be a giant leader that side of the country or that side of the world in making these changes. And I think other countries like that are just going to follow suit, which is exactly what we need.
Yeah. And I think that you're instrumental in creating this and getting this movement behind it.
Yeah.
Energy behind it to get people on board. So again, thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
We're at the end of the show already, and I wanted to make sure that everybody has a chance to get your information, get your website, any ways to contact you, how they can help again, just any information you'd like to share with their listeners. Maybe your page.
Yeah, for the television show, the Instagram is Amanda to the Rescue. The Facebook is Amanda to the Rescue. You can watch us at 10 p.m. on Animal Planet. You can also find us on Amazon and iTunes if you do not have Animal Planet on your cable subscription. And then if you're looking for Panda Paws Rescue information, our website is www.pandapawsrescue.org. You can find us on Facebook under Panda Paws Rescue as well. And we do have an FAQ on our website, and I encourage everybody to just read through that. It's about 10 different FAQs that we frequently get asked with the answers to those. And if people are interested in helping or donating, obviously they can do that on Facebook, or they can do that through our website.
Oh, that's great. That's great news, because that's something that we all can do. I mean, maybe not everyone can take in a special needs animal as much as they'd like to, but they can donate. They can start a fundraiser.
You know what I would really love? I've always wanted a kid out there to do this, so I'm just going to put this out there in the world. I want a kid to go around their neighborhood and do like a couch cushion coin fundraiser, and just as many coins that they can scrounge up from their teachers, their classmates, their friends, their neighbors, whatever it is, and donate that to their local animal shelter. I just think that's one of the cutest things that someone can do. Like all the change in the center console in the car, all of that counts.
And what was the name of it? You said a couch?
Well, like a kid's couch.
Oh,
coin.
couch. Oh, okay. Couch cushion. Okay.
Yeah, like couch coins, because, there's always like coins in the couch or coins
yes. Okay.
in a cup holder. But, every single penny really does add up. And so that's something that kids can do and get really inspired about it.
I want to make sure I heard that correctly, because I'm going to put it on my Facebook page and ask people to contribute, if they'll let us know where they are in the country.
Absolutely. I would love that.
We can do. And maybe we can spread it, ask them to share it with their friends, and just see if we can get that going.
Absolutely. And it's not a giant ask. It's something that was exciting. It's something that would give a lot of kids out there pride in helping out.
Yeah. If you love animals and you want to do this, then jump in and join us and help out.
Yep, absolutely.
Wonderful. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I love talking with you and learning about all the interesting things you're doing. You're making such a huge difference. And like I said, you are my hero. And I speak that for many, many of the listeners too, knowing it to be true.
Thank you so much, Darcy. This hour has been amazing. And I really appreciate your support, and I appreciate you having me on here today. And I'm really grateful. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd love to have you back. In the meantime, my very best to you and all your endeavors.
Thank you for listening to Animal Soul Wisdom Radio, tapping into the wisdom of our animals, angels, and masters with Darcy Pariso. Tune in monthly as Darcy shares stories and insights on how to better understand and deepen our relationships with animals. Working with light and ancient techniques, Darcy is here to guide you through the process and provide inspiration to move forward. For more information or to listen to this show, visit darcypariso.com.
If you've ever had a broken heart, you know how painful that can be and how long it can sometimes take to heal it. I'm Megan Edge, author of The Heart's Journey, Healing Hearts, Oracle Cards, and Guidebook, published with Balboa Press and Hay House. In The Heart's Journey, I share with you my own heartbreak and how I healed it through the beautiful hearts that found me in nature. From taking photographs of these hearts for myself, I've created this beautiful toolkit, which includes the guidebook, which has my story, how to work with oracle cards as a healing tool, and the story of each of these hearts as they cross my path. I've also created a beautiful journal. There's a pen, a bookmark, and of course, the 42 Healing Hearts oracle cards. You can order The Heart's Journey, Healing Hearts, Oracle Cards, and Guidebook through my website, meganedge.ca, through Balboa Press, Amazon, and many other places online or your local shops. I look forward to hearing about your heart's healing.
Introducing the Lucid Planet, a digital gathering place featuring cutting-edge, high-vibrational content that will empower and inspire you to become the greatest version of yourself. Visit the Lucid Planet today to stimulate your mind, body, and soul as you connect with a global community of like-minded people. The Lucid Planet is edited by renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly Neff, who is here to help you cope with anxiety, connect to your higher purpose, uncover your true passions, and live your dreams. Dr. Kelly's fresh, compassionate perspective emphasizes growth, transformation, healing, and thriving. Even in the face of adversity, say goodbye to bad news and low vibrational media for good and become part of the larger collective of people working together to navigate the global shift of consciousness and transform the world from within. Join the planet, the Lucid Planet. Visit thelucidplanet.com. Welcome home.
Sometimes being human has its challenges. Our physical health falters, our spirits sag, our dreams don't immediately come to fruition. Welcome to the power of Maximum Medicine Radio. Join me, Doc Martin, in conversations that will blow your mind about healing. In our hit show, Doc Martin addresses the scientific with bridging to the mystical approaches to give you a new narrative about maximum medicine. In this live call-in show, we will journey into the extraordinary genius of the human body and talk about other beliefs that impact being your multidimensional self. We seek the seen and the unseen and explore the earthbound and the otherworldly, all with the purpose of calling forth the maximum you. To learn more about Doc Martin and Maximum Medicine, visit www.sharonmartinmd.com.